I mean, they're a heck of a team, and they made some terrific plays. They're very good defensively and offensively. I told our guys in the locker room it wasn't our effort. It was just enough possessions where we were a bit unsound, whether we didn't get a block out or we reached on the ball or had a careless turnover. To beat a team like Duke in this setting, you've got to be at an A or A minus in those compartments or those areas. We were a little unsound. Now, some of the plays those guys made were good. We got to look at some things. We made some good plays and had our chances, but 63%, is that what they shot in the second half? Yeah, thanks. 63.2 or not 63. You're not going to – you got to – we're a solid defensive team, but tonight we were not solid enough, and that hurts. Large credit due to their play and their ability, but we have to be better than that in that setting, I believe.
Tony, what did you think of the defense on Zion? And it seemed like Braxton, when you went to, gave you a little physical, but maybe not enough quick, and DeAndre gave you quick, but maybe not strong.
And Mommy did at times, and Jack, we put Jack on him, and he did a good job. He just gets ahead of steam, and at times probably we were stretched, but we were trying different things. And, whether it's even on an underneath out of bounds play, a tight game, and he bullies his way in there and gets a tough catch shot, those are really valuable possessions, and we just did not win enough possessions. But, and it's not just him. And, look, I know they're missing one of their top players, so they're a heck of a team, obviously well-coached, all that, that stuff. But we needed to be sounder to have a chance or to maybe get this one. And we did have some chances, left some points on the board too, as they probably did. They didn't shoot it great from the line, nor did we, but we'll grow from it.
Tony, they rebounded almost half their misses in the first half. I don't ever remember that happening against one of your teams. How did that happen, and what did you do to keep them off the glass in the second? Because they only got one off.
Well, I think they were making all their shots in the second half, so you don't have to worry about defensive rebounding, so that's your other way to attack it. No, 9 offensive rebounds, and I get it, they're strong, but there's that's what I meant. It wasn't effort, it was being unsound. Sometimes it's just a missed block out. It's one thing if you block out and they make an amazing or athletic play, but that's what we can't let be acceptable. And that hurt us, and those are points that perhaps they shouldn't. If we do the job, they don't have. And in games like this that are down to possessions, those are costly.
Okay. Tony, you shot it for the game overall better than 50%, but only, 3 of 17
right.
from
Right.
Were you satisfied with the shot selection from deep?
We got a few good looks. We really did. Couple maybe not so great. They switched. I don't know if you could. Well, you were watching the game 1 through 5, and they haven't shown that off ball, on ball, and we weren't sure, but they did that. And I thought we did an okay job of spreading out and attacking. You have to do that, and we got some looks. So I think offensively wasn't the issue, but we've been shooting the ball so well these last few games from 3. And offense or shooting can kind of come and go, and that's where your soundness defensively, defensive rebounding, taking care of the ball has to be at a high level, and it wasn't enough to be where we needed to. But for the most part, decent threes, I think, maybe a couple quick ones, but, you gotta take them when they're there, and sometimes they drop, sometimes they don't.
Doug, and then Dan.
There was a lot of hype coming into this game. You were the last of the unbeatens in the country. Are there any positives to being 16-1 and maybe not being under this constant scrutiny?
I mean, that's for you guys and everyone else. That's just, can we, when that ball gets tipped, play 40 or 45 minutes, whatever it takes of quality basketball. And, and I mentioned that before. Your goal, I think it was the Indianapolis Colts coach said, just try to go 1-0 every time out, and that's got to be the mindset. There was hype last year when we came. They're so talented. I've got guys that are terrifically talented too. So the fact that they're number 1 and all that, I get that, but that you can't get confused by all that stuff. It's just being clear, and I thought we were a little confused with some of the things we needed to do at a high level. Let's say confused. We just didn't execute the way we needed. That's all.
Is the simple growth concentrating on those itty-bitty details? I mean, do you feel like overall the picture is there, it's just defining?
It's always that way. It's always that way, fine-tuning. It's just, it's such a – I don't know if it was Coach Knight that said it, basketball is a game of mistakes, or and I'm going to look that up, who knows. Sounds like any good basketball quote usually you get from him. But and it comes down to those eliminating errors. There's going to be some, but just be sound and eliminate losing. So you look at those areas, but for sure, growth mindset. That has to be that. You play Tuesday, so you got to get back and get ready to play. And then we go from there.
Time for 2 more. Josh.
Tony, you guys will obviously be playing in high-profile environments throughout the season, especially maybe later in March. What kind of lessons can you guys learn from playing in an environment like this and not coming up?
Yeah, I think what we just were talking about, soundness and toughness. Know who you are. Don't get away from that. Who are we, and what gives us a chance to be successful. That's what I hope, Dana, we grow from in those areas. I don't think we got out of, offensively, I think we were okay for the most part, maybe a little out of character, and it's a frenzied environment. You can get stretched. Guys make plays. You get frustrated. Maybe we got some calls and they got some calls, and you got to just play the possession, what's in front of you, forget the last one, and I think that's something we can hopefully grow from.
Last one in the middle.
You had great success taking the ball to the basket in the second half time particularly, and they only got 1 blocked shot. I think they lead the country with averaging 80 games. So how did you have that kind of success against their defense?
Yeah. I think it's Ty's leaping ability. I think he just goes over the top, and Ty and Zion just can't block a shot. No, I think we tried to spread the court. It was Coach Boeheim when they played Syracuse. They kind of opened the court, and those guys attacked if they switched the 1-on-5, and our guys made some good plays. And that's what was available. There wasn't a whole lot. I'll look at the 3-pointers and see, but we were trying a lot of different things, and we did get to the paint and got some plays, and that hopefully would open up some offensive rebounding for us, which was okay. But yeah, the guys did a good job finishing for the most part.